Be quiet over here. Waiting for you to start something.
We start.
We're all set. You ready?
Yep.
I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. Everyone is on the board is present. Bill, would you lead us to the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with and justice for all.
Anything, visitors, please?
Sure.
And Venus and Michelle Brown and Sean Muniger.
Welcome, everyone. First thing we'll have, I guess, is the review of the and approval of the two sets of minutes.
I move to approve the March 9th minutes. Both the same.
You can do them both in the same.
Okay, I move to approve the March 9th and the March 26th special meeting.
Second. And moved and seconded to pass the March 9th and March 26th special meeting minutes. Is there any discussion or questions? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Next, we have the review of the claims and accounts. Mr. Patterson.
Okay. You do there, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about any of those items. Page 2. The one I'm calling your attention to is middle of the page. It's item 20628. Ryan Thompson Oil Company. It's our bus fuel bill for the month. You can see it's increased substantially. $20,393. We usually are in the $12,000 to $13,000 range per month. So that's a big increase when we're watching. You have a lot of travel with divisional basketball and with state basketball, but it's definitely an increase, and one that we have little control over. For sure. And that's the only one I had to really call out. Any others on page 2? Particular here. That's 20641 Harlow's bus sales. Those are bus parts for bus repairs, since that's the topic later for our activity buses, and particularly 2 of them that we want to break down to us. There are a couple other miscellaneous parts for some of the route buses, but our large expenses are for our activity buses. $1,147. That does not count the tow, which is a little over $2,000. Any questions on page 4? Page 4?
Yeah, the virtual AI training. What?
Yes. So that's the second item on there, 20640, Ruby Education. That's professional development for teachers for next year. And so we're going to have them come in. I actually saw them present at one of the administrator conferences that I attended this year. And they have some great AI instruction for educators. They gave us a bank of what they call AI prompts to help teachers do education related tasks. So this would be not student facing. This would be teacher facing. So it's all about teacher materials, helping a teacher do their jobs easier, more effectively, create resources than something that students would be using.
Those will be required for all teachers.
Yes, it's one of our first free PR days before school starts. That's one of those. I believe one specifically. It may be the first 24.
Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions on page 4? Oh, that amount was $3,475 for that training. That's a 4-hour training. And we'll have access to some of their digital resources as well. Okay, page 5. Near the bottom of the page, you got 2 items back to back. 20653, that's Newman & Company. That's for our audit. It's such a big number, $17,000 for our annual school district audit. However, that, it's a large number. That's pretty darn affordable.
That's very affordable.
Yes.
That's very, yeah.
That's my previous district. We were averaging around $40,000 for our annual audit. So that's pretty good price right there.
Yeah.
Next item, 20654. That's our energy bill. Just coming down a little bit. That's $10,987.05. And that was mostly for the month of March. That was both gas and electricity. So our lowest, I think, was back in the fall. We were in the $9,000 range, low nines. So hopefully, we eventually get back there. But it is lower than the previous one, about $1,000. Any questions on page 5? Page 6. Nothing here to particularly draw your attention to, but happy to answer some questions. Page 7. No specific items on this page either. You can see our tow bill there for the activity bus tow. It's page 7. We had a total of 53 claims from 51 vendors. Amount of $124,000, $124,625.80. Last page is how that money was broken up among our fund accounts. You can see there was a large portion came out of transportation, a little bit out of the budget. $1,000 out of budget appreciation was to hold an activity bus until tonight, for the board to decide whether or not they'll allow us permission to consider purchasing that activity bus. On the claims.
I would move to approve the claims and accounts.
Been
moved and seconded to approve the claims and accounts. Does anyone have any questions or discussion they'd like to comment on? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Next on our agenda is public comment. I do not have anything. Does anyone have anything?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
My name is Michelle Brown. I am the parent of, sorry, I have to put my reading glasses on, of Case Brown. He graduated Beaverhead High School May of 2025. Yes, yeah, got it. Chase and I came in, we did a presentation. Some of you guys might remember us. I referred to Chase as average Chase, all the average Chases. So I wanted to circle back with you guys and let you know how average Chase did. So I started with a little kind of funny joke from a parent point of view. There's a little thing going around Facebook that says, just as a parent says, my child would never. And then all of a sudden your child comes around and they are nevering like they have never before, right? And we always think about that in a bad way. But actually, Chase is nevering like he's never before in a positive way. Audra may disagree with me, but her and I went through a lot. So average Chase, this is where he is. Average Chase was the one that took the entrance exam at Montana Tech at the age of 16. He never took an ACT here. He never took an SAT. He just went right in and took the entrance exam. He scored a 5 out of a 5, and he scored a 121 out of 150 on the math. So he was a great candidate. And so he started. When he graduated Beaverhead County High School, he graduated with 30 college credits completed. He was a dual enrollment and dual credit kid at the same time. We were enrolled in 3 different universities, essentially, to pull this off. So where is Average Chase now? Average Chase is going to walk May 9th with his first associate's degree. He is not the only Average Chase. There was another one, and his name is John something. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Okay. Okay, so there was more than just one. I'm just saying, sorry. But congratulations to both of them. So with that said, Average Chase, who's never before, he ended up on the dean's list at Montana Tech with a 3.5 or higher. He was not awarded any scholarships through Beaverhead County High School. We paid for all of our dual enrollment tuition together. 1, 2, 3 free only covers about 2 classes. So Chase and I were getting a reduced tuition. And this is all from the time he was 16. So while he was here at school with you guys, we were paying college tuition. Let's see. On September 16th, it was about 2 weeks after he got up to Montana Tech, I got a letter in the mail. And of course, I thought my child was nevering again. And I thought it was bad. But what it was he received a $10,000 scholarship from the Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation. It was the entire scholarship was offered to him. It was based on his grades, his distance, his attendance, and his registration in trades. He also got internship at Toyota Buick and he makes about $18 an hour. So that pays his rent. And he doesn't have to live on campus. So we saved a ton of money by him not living on campus. If you recall, Chase was actually in the newspaper a few times and also the Dillon Tribune. He was the poster child for that Sprint program. I don't know if they're still doing that Sprint program, but regardless, there is one child that is going to graduate within 1 year of graduating here with an associate's degree. So I wanted to circle back and let you guys know that those Average Chases, he didn't get awarded anything here. He didn't get any honors, no recognition, no nothing. But they still make their own path. They do it a different way. And I just hope that we really encourage everybody to get in front of the parents because we didn't know how to navigate this. We had to have help from Montana Tech. We had to have a lot of help from the Office of Public Instruction. We are blessed, and we were blessed then with a very good counselor. And I believe that we lucked out and got another good counselor when that one left. But I just want to really kind of reach out to you guys to let you know that, we're a small school, but we can do great things. We don't have to be dead last. We can do great things with these average kids that aren't playing in sports, aren't going to go to Western and get a 4-year teaching degree, and I just hope that you guys encourage the superintendent to really start finding those Average Chases and trying to pull them up and find a path for them other than just the traditional 4-year. But Chase is a trade school kid, and he's just not interested in being a teacher. Sorry, but it's just not his gig. So anyways, I just want to thank you guys for listening to me last time and this time. If you have any questions, you know, around, but
I'm sorry if I missed it. What's his degree in? What's his degree in?
it's, okay, so it's an applied science degree, but it's in automotive.
Right.
And there were other students, I know there's another student from Dillon that was also awarded another $10,000 scholarship too. But those were not scholarships that you could apply for. Those were ones that were, essentially they tried to find them and stuff. So yeah, and I don't know, I talked to Rob. I'm not sure have there been other students that have done this? Did anyone find out? Have any of our Beaverhead County students graduated with an associate's degree? And
The other student, I believe, there.
yeah, the other one, yes. So, but have there been any other students? Did he?
Then,
or- These are.
on that program, there's other. So,
Right. Not in that program, but are any of them, do any of them have associates? Because these guys could essentially turn them into bachelor, into business degrees or bachelor's. But
we have to check into that.
if we have any other Beaverhead County High School students, yeah. It's possible, it was doable, it's not that hard. Navigating, we needed help.
It takes motivation from the student, for sure, you know, and
It does.
there's both students in questioning, point on the idea of just not finishing, but then this program came up. And then give them some motivation to finish their high school diploma, plus working towards their college.
Mhm.
So is he 17 now? Or 18?
So, he's 18, so he's still gonna be 18. So his is based on his birthday, so he graduated. When was I don't know when our graduation, when did they kick him out?
Just
May.
20.
So he turned 18 on the 21st. So he essentially graduated as a very young 4-day, 6-day. Yeah. So so May 9th, he'll still be 18. May 21st, he'll turn 19. But it's possible. It's possible. And we talked to other parents. Chase helped other kids throughout it, navigate the multiple platforms and stuff. But to be really honest with you, it's just the way it works in college now. He just had the support of his family around him while he was doing it. And I'm not quite so sure that your first year of college isn't so bad having that support system with you, making things happen. So it wasn't too bad. So anyway, I just wanted to circle back and let you guys know that there's a ECH kid nevering again. Thank you.
Congratulations. Any other public comment? Yes.
Mike Henderson, for those of you who don't know me, my son MJ, we homeschool him, but he does some stuff in the high school. He takes band, first period band in the morning, and then he also plays sports. I was talking to Dr. Patterson here as we're getting ready for next year to do enrollment, and it seems there might be some changes to where we're required, the students are required, even though we teach them at home, they're required to be quarter time. Is that right, Dr. Patterson?
That's technically what it's called. They kind of round up to reach that quarter.
Sure. So the question was, when I reached out to Dr. Patterson, was just trying to figure out what that means for the homeschool community. We have other friends that do it as well. And when I spoke to Dr. Patterson, for me, it would kind of be a stretch, just because, again, MJ, in his situation, he does first period. We school him through the rest of the day, and then sports start, whatever, 3 o'clock or whenever it is. So we've got to get a lot done there. To be able to ask to do another class here in the high school would probably be a stretch for us. So I'm just asking that you guys have the conversation and see if there's a way that if the homeschoolers that we can limit it to basically that one class, so that I can continue with the education. Thank you.
And I can respond a little bit to Mike just to give some more backgrounds. The reason I had to call you back is because I could get more information.
Sure.
And essentially, Lance Milton, he is the director for Montana School Board Association, wrote the bill for this. And because if I understand it correctly, that he is the father of some students that were homeschooled part-time and was upset that students couldn't participate in public school partially if they wanted to, and that the public school could not receive any funding from the state because of that. So he wrote the bill where schools could receive a fragment of the funding based on how much they were enrolled. And essentially, he had thought that one class was enough to get the smallest portion of funding. And again, we're not trying to make money here on our part-time kids. We just want to make sure we're paying for our programs, keeping the lights on. This is not something that we would ever want to do. In fact, we want to encourage more interest and more enrollment. But OPI, it sounds like they were thinking, I didn't talk to OPI, but they were only had to be two classes. I know. So Helena does require 2 classes to be part-time students. And again, that's just so you get that small fragment of funding. So going back and forth, what I've found out is it's technically, if you want to get it as low as you can, it's 1.5. So that would be, so for example, in MJ's case, if you're allowed, can I use his?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So he's a band student, very talented drummer, extremely talented drummer. And that band class is all year long. So that would count as 1 course. You need at least 1 course that's a semester long to get to that 1.5 for us to get some kind of funding. Now, since Lance is aware of this next legislative session, be prepared. I'm prepared that he's going to go back to bat and see if we can get that 1 credit for our part-time kids to count, because that was his intention. And especially with proficiency-based education now, not requiring seat time, there's a couple of bills that may be a little bit at odds, but OPI standing firm on that 1.5. And I'm going to have it on the May agenda for discussion. We do have 12 part-time kids right now. Well, we have around 54, 55 students that are in our homeschool population that I'm aware of. That's the one that the state reports to us that we have to reach out to and make them aware that they can participate in our federal programs, because we're a Title I school. So we are required by law to do that. And I would like for more of those students in any capacity to come join our programs with the knowledge that our students that are here full time, they've got to take the first precedent, but we have room. And with kids like MJ, I mean, they really add to our programs. We got some great, we have other great classes beyond our band. We have a great choir program that has plenty of room for growth. And I think about some of the churches out there where students are homeschooling, and I'm seeing these kids singing in church, and I'm thinking, wow, that could be a great addition to our choir. That would be the only thing that they'd have to come and participate in. And how much that could build that program. We have great CTE programs. Now, some of those there's a wait line for. I believe our intro to ag class, we would maybe have to consider hiring another instructor, an additional instructor to create some room there. But we have a consumer science program, great industrial arts program, great business education program. In addition to all our great core class programs, they're rigorous, but I do believe we have great programs that I would like to reach out and try to meet with I think Miss Henderson, one of the directors, and I met with Blake's wife. What's her name?
Wilson.
Yeah, and kind of discuss what we have to offer, and just so we can get that knowledge out there, and so we can let them know that we do want you here, and that you don't have to be here all the time. And we understand that for some people it's a secular thing. It's a really religious versus secular, and that's okay. Parents do have the right. You try to make them aware of the right that you can opt your kids out of certain classes, even if you're full time, or exposure to certain content. We can even go further than that, and they can just pick the classes they want potentially. I'd like to at least have that conversation. Because we like them in our athletic programs too. And half of our cross country team, if not a little more than that, homeschool students.
So if a student just takes one class, we don't get reimbursed from the state, is that correct?
That's correct.
But we still accept the student? Or
Yes.
We still do.
We still do. So this year, out of those 12 students, 4 of them were only taking 1 class. We didn't get any funding for this. There were most of the other ones took about 2 to 3 courses. I think we have one of the 12 taking 4, which, according to OPI, 4 classes would count as full time. Wasn't aware of that. 3 counts as 3/4 time, or 3 counts as half time, and 2 counts as what they were thinking 2 would count as quarter time. But they're saying we could go as low as 1.5. as far as we could go. So that, we have some half credit courses. They're just a little bit fewer than our 4-year courses. We do have them available. We have them available in our elective classes as well. So kind of where things stand now.
Okay, Shannon, that's up to you now.
Yeah, could I add a couple things to that?
Sure.
Yeah, so Shannon Manus, that will be discussed, but we won't be back in session until January 27th. So, Dr. Patterson, you said in May, that's going to be a
Yes,
agenda item, correct?
correct.
So just for y'all's information, MCA, the code that this all falls under is 20-9-311, calculation of your A and B, your average number of belonging. So if y'all want to look at that and read over that, particularly what Dr. Patterson breaks it all down on how much you get quarter time, half time, full time. But there's also section 4D. And with me talking to OPI, that's where, because I called them trying to get answers, same as you did. And the answer I kept getting to every single question was, it depends. Okay, well, what about this? Well, it depends. You're not giving here. So, but a lot of that has to do with that section 4D, if you want to read into that. And apparently it varies all over the state. But the school boards of each district, they make decisions. And so there's no blanket policy for the state. You can vote one thing in, and then Madison County might do something totally different. So bring that up next month. That'd be great. But I just wanted to give you that MCA code if you want to dig into that and read it. Pay particular attention to that 4D. It's talking about some proficiency exams and how that could count for some of those hours. If a student scores, they wouldn't have to be here. So anyway, food for thought to read over, give you homework before the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Anybody else? Public comment? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Next we'll go to the superintendent's report. We'll let Dan be front and center, I guess.
Thank you for letting me go early. Really, there's a couple things in my report. We're moving along with design. Our building envelope specialists, the last time I mentioned, they're critical to make sure that whatever we apply as our solution, we're not creating or burying another problem. The gentleman was traveling, so he didn't respond right away to my revised. He'd sent out a proposal, it was far more than what we needed. So we retooled it, sent it back out, and he was gone. So we got that back. That'll be presented tonight for approval. I've tentatively got him moving because we need to hustle. And then there was one other item I wanted to request or let you know there's a process that we're looking at for some specialty contractors or subcontractors to Langless. So there's the ability for them to go out and pre-qualify subcontractors. And one of the big ones that they're concerned about is getting the right solution for our window fix. So as we talked, we're looking at removing that sill block. And what has to go back in there is bent metal components to fill in that space so that we can create a watertight element. So what Langless has requested, which I did the research and the selection criteria allows, where we can go out with a short period of time to pre-qualify vendors to do that work and take maybe a potentially very long list, qualify them out similar to the way we did with the general contract, and then give them a specific scope of work to develop a cost so that we can get them on board before the final detail is done so that they can be part of that solution. So that was a request I had from Langless. And after doing the research, I fully see that it's supported within the criteria of selecting them as our partner. It allows them to go out and pre-qualify those folks before a final bid package is done, so that maybe we'll be able to shorten then the bid time for that scope, and we can get them on board because they're going to be kind of first in to remove those windows so that we can remove the sills to get it put back in place. So it was something I wanted to bring up. I feel totally comfortable. It's not necessarily an action item. I just want to let you guys know that is a process and let you ask me questions on how that might look different or than what would be traditionally a full set of design documents that then they did. What it does is it allow us to buy about 6 weeks of time. So they could be doing that now and actually have that component bid prior to the 100% documents that we're going to have. And then they'll be able to plug it right into their schedule, and they'll be kind of leading the charge when students are out of the building. I feel confident, Langless feels confident in doing it that way. And that way it allows us to qualify them, basically folks that have done this type of work, as opposed to somebody that would be their first time. We can qualify that out with experience, successful projects, location, those kind of things. We'll set a criteria that then that, much like we did with the qualifications, a rubric it out and say, hey, here's the 3 that we want to go to the proposal phase. They'll have already seen the intent, so that then that bidding piece is a shorter time period to where we can shave several weeks off of waiting until final design is done. Those are the big things I wanted to talk through, and then I know there's some contract things that we can.
But that's not an action item.
It's not an
You
action.
just go ahead and have Langless do
Yep,
that.
it's just more for clarification and make sure you guys didn't have any concerns with doing it that way. It meets state law, meets their procurement. I'm comfortable with it. And I think it's a good way because of the little bit of delay on our envelope specialist. It allows them to get the detailing done and have any bent metal that we need kind of pre-done before we start pulling windows out.
The envelope specialist, would you explain that a little bit? What that?
Yeah,
that is,
yeah.
please?
Yeah, so it's kind of like an insurance policy for us. So as we've proposed solutions, they're going to take the product literature and the information of how we're going to fix the envelope, so the sealing of that block, and what we're going to apply to the exterior, and then what we're going to do to the inside to meet our value that we're losing because of some of the lack of insulation. They basically do an analysis, and they'll study to make sure that by putting that sealer on the outside, if we're furring out walls on the interior, does it create a dew point somewhere in that wall that could create a failure? And so we're basically moving our risk to our solution onto somebody that will verify that there's not going to be any negative effects to what we're proposing. And so, his original contract was more than our architects, and he didn't feel like he's a top-rated guy out of Portland, Oregon. So we've narrowed that down to about 16,000. I had budgeted about 35. He has several trips, but coming out is about a $6,000 bill. So we're going to try to limit those. But his consulting agreement that you guys will look at a little later is a time and material not to exceed. So meaning it's our worst case, and it's about $3,000 more than that 35,000. But I have a feeling we're going to be able to do it without any trips, so it'll be in that $16,000 range, which puts more money back into doing other scopes of work. Yeah, so it's really he's going to study the parapet cap. If we're furring out the inside of a wall, how does that interact with the roof insulation? Do we have a spot where there could create moisture, and then provide a detailed solution for fixing that so we don't have any of those dew points that are mid-wall. We want to keep it to the outside of our building. So that's what they're there for, just to kind of CYA from a district standpoint that we're not approving a solution that is going to create a future problem. Very, very knowledgeable man. So
Thank you, Dan. Does
Yeah.
anyone have any questions of Dan?
any concerns about that early procurement? Okay.
No,
I'll
that
get
sounds like a
going on
good
that.
idea. Just
Yeah.
get the ball rolling.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Then we got a couple other items, so I'll hang out.
Okay.
All right.
I think sometime to recognize some staff achievements. Kind of happened here late winter and early spring. This you'll find it in your board packet as well. So first I've got Kim Conan. And just wanted to make the board aware that she was recently recognized by the Montana State University Department of Native American Studies for her ongoing work in the creation of curriculum content for high school family and consumer science courses that authentically represent Indigenous communities. So it's a big write-up here. It was online. And so it's always nice when we have personnel from BCHS that are getting recognized for their hard work and their accomplishments. It's pretty cool, I think. Next, we have Jordan Flood, and she had a very successful speech, drama, and debate season with her team. And so you can see there she was named by her peers as the state coach of the year for debate drama. And then right behind that, you can see her students, our students, how they performed. Of note, it was Lima Giverson, first place in impromptu. So very impressive. She's a senior. And just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. That they're recognizing her. Who's with us, but I've got a list of how well they did at FFA State, the results. Of note, they were recognized as the Outstanding Agricultural Education Program of the Year. Our chapter performed very well, earning high honors. A few of our FFA students placed first in their event, and many other students earned commendable rankings. As you can tell from the packet, and of course in the packet, we got some pictures of our kiddos and here, so I'll let him go into a little more detail about it.
Perfect. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. The really successful week in Great Falls for State Attention. With 27 kids up there, had 9 teams and a speaker qualify, so that was really exciting. And about 2,200 attendees, 101 FFA chapters up there that week at the State Fairgrounds. So super exciting. Really, it's fun to be in Great Falls. So they enjoy having us, which is not, you can't always say about some of the places that we go. Most people couldn't care less if we were there, unfortunately. But no, we took 9 teams, all of them represented really well. That horse and vet team that we took to nationals last year, they even listed turnover, they were second in the state, and we were excited to see where they go. Pretty much all of them right there in the top 10 or top 20, about 100 schools, which is really cool. Had 10 kids get their state degrees, which is pretty high honor. Overall, really successful, really impactful week for those kids. So appreciate the support that we get here. Appreciate the value that's placed on it here. It means a lot to those kids. And I appreciate Greg Christopherson for carting my sorry butter on Great Falls for 5 days. So that was a lot of fun. A couple other things, and this will come up here a little bit later. We were selected. That outstanding program thing is really cool. It's not the big star chapter trophy that went to Conrad this year. I get it back, but our ag teacher group, our Montana Association for Ag Education, selects an outstanding program, and that's voted on by ag teachers. That's not just the FFA part. That's the entire ag program overall, and we were selected as the top secondary program in the state this year, which is pretty cool. It's really an honor to be voted on that by your peers. So pretty proud of that. I think it's pretty neat. And then last thing here, we were selected. There's a new grant-funded conference called Catalyst, and it is funded by the Arthur Blank Foundation of Falcons and Home Depot fame. And that is June 18th and 21st in Indianapolis. And that is a very hands-on, community service focused type of summit, one from each state, and we were selected as the representative chapter for Montana to go. So super excited. All we have to do is get there, and the rest of it's funded by the Home Depot spending. So hoping to check it out and see what it's all about. So any questions for me, I guess. I know I've had a long one. So
Was there one more trip too, Caleb?
oh yeah, and then we'll go I guess pending approval here. I do want to take some kids back to Idaho that week after school gets out, because I haven't seen enough of them. They haven't seen enough of me. I want to go to the Idaho State FFA contest in Moscow, June 2nd. We've traditionally gone to that the last 4 or 5 years and done very well. It's fun to go to Idaho and beat them at the contests, and like to do it again. Love to have a new band to go to. I'm just.
Saying first.
I don't.
Taylor, congratulations on the accomplishments and what a great job you do. You're the one that keeps celebrating. Pretty tremendous. We're very, very fortunate to have you and your program and all the students involved. How many total students do you have in FFA now?
I have 122 in ag class, so technically they're all FFA members, and have about 50 to 60 of them showing up to meetings. Took 27 in Great Falls, and that's quite a crew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have over a third of our student body in ag classes.
We do see just a little over a third of them every day, which is lots more than they do.
That speaks a lot of the job you do. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That's something I hope to do as we go forward and, take time to notice some staff achievements
I
and
think that's wonderful.
make sure we're celebrating them for
Yeah.
for the hard work they do and then maybe we'll recognize them as kids as well. Sometimes they don't feel like enough recognition.
Well, the recognition that both Kim and Jordan got is phenomenal as well. It's
Now we go on to the more somber side. Notification, retirement, acceptance of resignations. I reluctantly have accepted on behalf of the district resignation of Rex Whitworth, who is one of our special education paraprofessionals. He is retiring after over 25 years in education. Moving on to the next chapter of his life. He's been with us for he's 23 years at BCHS and 2 years as a attendance. His entire career has basically been in our districts. So he'll be missed. That'll be a position I'll have to open up and hopefully find a replacement. It'll be challenging. It's in his current capacities, he's a special education para for high needs one-on-one student.
Said a lot of.
Yes, he had.
Easier. Well, he does a great job.
Just kind of has this network for doesn't
Yes.
In addition, Bobby Conan, and you can see that they have their letters in the packet and the corresponding letters that I sent accepting the resignation in the packet there. If you'd like to look at those. Coach Conan is resigning as head volleyball coach. You can see her letter, the reasons why there. Paige Pathausen is resigning her position as our JV girls basketball coach. Her husband, Nick Pathausen, is resigning his position as assistant football coach. And their letters and the responses to their letters are in the packet.
They'll all be missed. They've done a tremendous job for us.
Yeah.
I think you're so sad.
Again,
No. They just so good.
yeah, darn it.
Well, so's Nick, but the big girls are good.
Yeah,
Kids,
Mine-
their own children. Families.
But they got grandmas for, right?
I know. That's grandma's.
I know.
If there are no questions, I'll move on to the next item on the student report, 2026-2027 calendar, academic calendar change. So Rob came to me before the MKSA conference and said, hey, let me get this item. Seeing if we can go back the week before. We used to have divisional basketball. I mean, it's a doggone if you didn't actually get it accomplished. So that's all we're doing here is we take that one PIR day, that's the Friday before divisional tournaments all. And technically, while we call it a PIR days, that's time that we're giving teachers back for their parent-teacher conference time service. And so we essentially give them that day off in exchange for their time during parent-teacher conference. And so all we're doing is moving that from the 5th to the 26th, because the week of divisional tournament will be that weekend, correct?
Yep.
Right.
And then will state still stay on like the 12th, 13th, so they'll be
So there'll be
yeah,
2 weeks between.
just a week, basically.
So it'd be similar to the one at East.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, weekend.
We have a little break between.
And that's how the Eastern Conference was this year.
Even though
Yeah.
the last couple.
We switched. This was our second year off on it back. It was a trial as experience.
after taking two teams twice, it's just a lot. It's a lot on the kids, and I think it's a lot of the families.
Sure.
So give them a
They're
break.
gone 6 out of 10 days, and taking a week off, let them get caught up and get back on their studies, and maybe let the families go back to work for a week and then do it all again. Seems like the right.
So it'll be on the agenda during, under the action items for consideration to do later. School transportation update. Well, it's been a year with our activity buses, and would like to try to do something about that and be a little more proactive and reactive. I've got Sean Lineker, our transportation director, here this evening, and I discuss our plan and then some what's been going on.
Store. And
So, backstory, activity bus 9899. A engine prone to failure, on breakdowns. We month in 2 months, particularly 99. Anytime we fix one item on it and try and send it out, a long trip, it breaks. We tow it back, and it's a different issue. The engine again. 98, same story. I know that 99 had an engine put into it a few years ago to the tune of about $50,000, and it was never right since. I did what I could to get it fixed under warranty. It seems with that particular bus, I'm going to use this 99 as an example. Last month, we had it down for a good portion of the month for a EGR valve, a manifold pressure sensor, and a DPF, diesel particulate filter. Finally, this was after it broke down, got towed, expensive tow. You guys reviewed that charge. Got it put together. We put a few hundred miles around here locally. We sent it out this last weekend. I had to save a team Saturday and bring another bus because it started acting up in Wisdom and it shut itself off, completely died, no power, no engine, no transmission, just outside of Sula going to Darby. He coasted it off the side of the road at a Sula log cabins, actually. Looking at that particular bus, and this is the International Max Force diesel, which I can give you a backstory on that. International designed this diesel in a hurry to meet emissions, kind of like they did with the 6-liter Power Stroke. I don't know if anybody's familiar with those. Absolute dismal failures. The Power Max engine is the same way. International built it for 3.5 years, and they scrapped it as they kept breaking down. Looking into 99 at this point, diagnosing and diving into it and seeing what I'm seeing. Today, it's building oil, which means fuel is dumping heavily and going past piston rings and washing cylinders. There is some metal in the oil. Is this bus worth it in my mind? On something that either perfectly running beautifully, trade in, we'd get about $3,000. That's all they get for it. I have a hard time justifying putting any more money into these two buses because they are actually past their life expectancy for activity buses. They all have high mileage, and both 98, 99 have the Max Force diesels. If I have to put an engine into it at this point, you're probably talking $70,000. I looked at repowering them with a Cummins, different engine other than current engines. Again, same situation. You're going to be upwards of $80,000 because not only do you have to have the engine computer, you have to have the transmission controller, either reprogrammed or replaced, and then body controllers. be replaced to talk to the Cummins engine and put in. My proposal, which would be the quickest and most economically feasible from my standpoint, and Mr. Patterson agrees, is we surplus out 98 and 99, and we replace them with a good quality used Bluebird. I have found one. You guys have it in your packet. It's a good looking bus, got a Cummins, got everything we need, has a hair over 31,000 miles, basically. And it was a GSA bus owned by the federal government. So I know the service history. It's been serviced and repaired accordingly. And I have them looking for a twin to it, which would be within a month or two. So my proposal is we surplus those two buses out. We have the funds. We purchased the one that we currently have available that we put $1,000 hold on. And after I get a mechanic and myself to look at it. But from what I've seen in the videos I've seen, that is an excellent bus. Inside and out.
And it has the Cummins engine in it.
Cummins 6.7 Allison transmission. So basically it's you step in line with 95. It's an identical twin to 95, just a little over. Cummins engine. Not a weak one underneath it. The only thing I seen with that bus is it's got the basic highway tire. You have to put traction tires on it. It's white. It's got, that would be easy to put our logo on the side and make it happen.
How many miles was 98, 99?
No,
Close. I know that they're pushing 200 plus. They've lived their life expectancy. One is 98 to 2010. 99 is a 2013 or 2014. So we run them 10 plus years.
basically the cost of 78,500. You throw what, an extra 2,500 for tires maybe?
Maybe.
And a couple $1,000 for wrapping, so a little over $80,000. We got an activity bus ready to go
With super low miles.
within a month, maybe month or two. We've been on title, get everything, getting safety, everything certified.
I mean, I have John when we're going down my lead tech, my mechanic at the shop, willing to fly down, look at it. And he's looked at it with what we can see and what we've seen on videos. He's for this bus as well.
So this really matches the current fleet type of bus we have. Well, if we try to look into something like a big cruiser, we just don't have the bus garage space or the stalls large enough to get one of those in. He's about 44 passenger, and it's just affordable. I mean, we looked at you said a 2022 model, and that was how much?
2020 model I got a quote for today was $60K from National Bus Sales with 140,000.
So I think even though this is a 2014, as long as they can go down and put eyeballs on it and run it, listen to it, and check everything, I think it's a deal. And if we could find another one in that maybe $80,000 to $90,000 range, I think that would bring up our activity needs. Now, just some information when it comes to activity bus funding. When you buy an activity bus, you have to first use district money. So technically a general fund. That's what you got to use. To purchase those, then you can use bus depreciation to replace them. You can't increase your fleet. You can maintain your fleet. That's why we would have, for each bus we get using bus depreciation, we have to get rid of one of our current fleet. So this could potentially solve that problem and do it relatively quickly. So we're not facing that one next year. And then we could go back to our route bus rotation, where maybe here in the near future we would have for brand new buses. Now, brand new buses, the build time's about a year and a half out. And so it wouldn't be spending next year's budget number. That's because you don't technically pay for those until you get it. There might be some kind of
Generally, it's like 10%
yeah.
down, and then you pay the balance upon delivery.
Well, the large part of that would come at the end of it. It would be a different fiscal year, which helps spread that cost over time. But that's just something we kind of keep an eye on. Gary and Megan did a good job with our route buses, and activities kind of got lost. We can catch up pretty quick, we think. This is an affordable way to do that without really, breaking the bank.
How many activity buses do we have? 5?
5. Right now, we only currently have 3 running. It's 98 flying over town. Major repairs to the.
And the other 3 are good?
They are. And ironically, the best running ones of the fleet are they're both 2000s. They're the older ones, 96, 97, but they don't have the emissions, the DPF, the EGR. So it's not needing its own exhaust and destroying it. And from my standpoint as a parent, if my kid was told he's going to get on bus 99, I'd be scared at this point. It's a liability and a safety thing, because my fear is if we're coming down Lookout and it dies, or it dies someplace on a cold, dark night with no cell phone service.
Well, how many times do we go to the bitter end of that happens on the city road trip?
Second time it's happened soon.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea to me, Sean. I appreciate all the time you put into keeping them going, and I agree, it's time to get rid of those 2 and 2 new ones if we can get them.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Sean? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's get on to the fun stuff now. All but one of these policies are currently existing policies, so under policy for reviewing policies, it would only take 1 reading. With all new policies, it would be at least 2 readings. And so these were actually given to us back after legislative session. I was trying to find a good time to put them in. And somehow that wound up on this agenda. Keep thinking there was going to be nothing on it, it wound up being a lot more. Anyway, look at the first one, that's 1014 FE. That's intent to increase non-voting levies. The only thing added there, I believe everybody has color copies. You can see that used to, all you have to do is report $100,000, the value on a $100,000 home and a $200,000 home in terms of the estimated impacts of the increase or decrease in mills. Now you have to do 300,000 and 600,000, which we have done, and it's posted on the front door here when we post our intent to increase levies, permissive levies specifically. But anytime you're going to run that, now you have to present that information. Any questions on that? Pretty simple stuff. The next one, 1014 FEF1, just goes with it. It's the graphic. It's the template. Again, if you look on our front door, you'll see it right now. Ours is a little more detailed. We probably present a little more than we need to, but that's okay. But it just shows you where they're adding that $300,000, $600,000 column. Any question on that? Okay. 1,111 for ones, quad ones. That's for elections. And this was where the timing changed. Remember back when we discussed elections, because everybody had to brief our trustees up and kind of figure out how that worked. So now instead it says 40 days, no sooner than 145 days, and no later than 85 days. That's for the declaration of intent that a candidate must be submitted to the district clerk. Any questions on that? As you can tell, it's all related to changes in law. Policy 1310, district policy and procedures. This one had some options to it, and it was related to what we're talking about, what I just mentioned. How many readings you need to have before accepting the policy. So we have option 1, final vote for adoption shall take place no earlier than the 3rd reading. Option 2, the final vote for adoption shall take place no earlier than the 2nd reading. Or option 3, the final vote for adoption may take place immediately after a single reading, which is kind of like what our current one says. But I like option 2 because it says new or revised policies only need 1 reading and be adopted after the 1st reading. So if it's something that's revised or required by state law, already have it, then you can do it after 1 reading. Everything else would be 2. That's what I would recommend for that one. Any questions on that one in particular? Okay, policy 1700. That's the uniform complaint procedure. We do have one. In case anybody asks, it's in board policy. It's what you use if you're not a teacher. If you're a classified member of our staff or any member of the public community, would use policy 1700, the uniform complaint procedure. And it just says that it kind of goes through the process. They're all different levels of how to resolve a complaint. And so a lot of that language changed around the accusations of sexual harassment, around explanation of rights to the complaining parties.
And these are the recommendations of the School Boards
School Board
Association.
Association. So it's all just the kind of the different levels. Going through the principal, going through the superintendent, and then last level is the school board. They kind of define the difference between a building administrator, typically a principal, and a district administrator, who would typically be superintendent, assistant superintendent. If there are no questions on policy 1700, we'll go into policy 2132, student and family privacy rights. So you can see there where they changed in red, making sure that there's an opt-in and an opt-out. So you can opt your child out for any personal analysis, evaluation, or survey or data collection, or you can opt their child into any personal analysis, evaluation, survey, or collection that the school district may require. Questions on that one? That's the only thing in that entire policy, which is kind of longer with the change. Policy 2162-P2, section 504 procedures. How section 504 works. And it mentions in the very end that we do have a uniform complaint procedure. But it kind of goes through the levels, what that looks like, what parent involvement looks like, participating in the least restricted environment, referral process, screening, tests and evaluation materials. Our students come to 504 already, typically, that's not always the case. 504 was originally created for students with disabilities, more specifically physical disabilities, and were intended to be short-term. That is since, it has since that time expanded to mental disabilities as well. And so oftentimes we'll have students, most commonly with ADHD, that we may or may not, depending on if their ADHD is affecting their performance academically, then we would maybe look at a 504 plan for them. However, a lot of them already come with it from District 10. But if someone were to get into an accident, and forbid, then we would maybe place a student on a temporary 504 during their recovery period. That makes sense. Policy 3410, student health. A lot of new language here. It's basically notifying parents. Parents will be notified in writing prior to any vision or hearing screening, which we really don't do anymore. We probably could look into it, but I don't think we've done it here at the high school since before COVID. I know a lot of students are typically screened at the elementary level for vision and hearing. Again, it's providing notice. That was the whole kind of, I wish Shannon would stay for that, because that was one of the big efforts, was providing notice, providing parents the ability to opt in or opt out, raising awareness. Policy 3510 and school sponsored activities. So we had this one had an option there, and that's at the bottom of the page, number 3, extracurricular activities. And what I believe we currently have, and we're going to stick with option C, the board authorizes the administration to consider requests to approve participation in high school activities by 8th grade students and consultation with parents at the request of the advisor or coach, consistently with this policy and MHSA rules. Additional coaches, chaperones may be required at the discretion of the administration if middle school and high school students are participating with each other. That's pretty much what we currently do, right, Brock?
Yes.
I mean, we don't want to blanket grant all eighth grade students. And so that gives us the most control, but it's the option that has the most language as well.
I see we have some eighth grade girls playing softball.
Yeah, so we were kind of on the borderline there. We thought we could make it. We had a couple of injuries and it just kind of became, we just have to. So there's 6 eighth graders that we brought up. Maybe 2 weeks into the season. Yep, we had to. We've worked really hard to build that program, and to have to cancel something detrimental to some of those sub-varsity players that won't play JV. And so we did that, and it's worked well. And the school district 10 worked really well with us, and just constant communication between Focus, myself, and the players with Mr. Roderick down there and their staff. It seems to work.
What else have we had? We've had eighth grade girls in golf.
Yep, and that's it this year. Yep, we do a fairly good job, I suppose, of trying to the coaches, like we try to build our programs within these walls here, right? You see a lot of programs going down to the eighth grades, whether that's to keep kids in their district or not, I don't know. It'll be a constant thing to evaluate, I think. But until we're losing a competitive advantage with our teams, I don't see the needs to change what we're doing, whether right or wrong. But I think that's the move. Our teams compete at very high levels, and it shows. Yeah, sure, it's an opportunity for those eighth graders to get one more year of high school ball, but I don't want to treat it as a farm system either. So I think personally think it's been abused, and people are using it to their advantages, I guess, but to each his own.
Yeah.
It's really abused by the girl schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
They're picking and choosing eighth graders.
Yes.
And I think that's a huge detriment.
Yeah.
I think it's kudos done.
Yeah. I do. And like I said, I don't feel like we're losing a competitive advantage, individually, maybe for some of those students, but they're going to get it when they get here. So I'm okay with that.
So that part of the policy about using option C gives us the kind of control over that through the administration. I mean, in any situation like that, we just meet with Brock. We have an activities meeting once a week. We get a situation like that, have a discussion, and go from there so we can kind of place some boundaries and barriers on. Because we want our high school kids, obviously, that's our first priority. It should always be. The other big thing about this policy, because it is a longer one, is it goes a lot into defining male and female sports. So so you pay attention to the back. But I guess it's law now in Montana. It's not like we have choice. That's a big thing. We define the sexes. It says the district shall designate all district-sponsored athletic teams or sports as one of the following based on biological sex: males, men or boys; females, women or girls; co-ed or mixed. Those are the options. So all of ours, I believe, with the exception of co-ed, but golf's not co-ed, right? I think all of ours are male. Helps keep us balanced by Title IX groups. And it specifically says that their sports designated for females, women, or girls may not be open to students of male sex. Anybody accusing us otherwise, if this policy is accepted, you can point to that.
Okay.
Policy 3612, school provided access to electronic information services equipment networks. This is the acceptable use policy. I swear it's updated just about every year. On the back, it's item E, and it's using AI for academically dishonest purposes. That's for students. They uses that violate academic honesty without prior authorization of classroom teacher will be considered academic dishonesty, which would kick in all of our rules regarding active dishonesty within our student handbook. That is policy that confirms that. Sounds pretty easy, I think. The last one, policy 7220. This is the new one. We don't have this one. And we're being audited next year, not only for special education, but now we're being audited for Title I, which is federal program. And we don't have this policy. So I'd like to, the board consider adopting it. All it says is that the school district will ensure that Title I funds are used to supplement, not supplant state and federal local funds. That's, I mean, it's short, it's 2 paragraphs that are maybe 4 sentences combined. And so I guess they just feel like from a federal standpoint, the state saying we need to take a stance on that, let the kids know we're doing what we say we're doing. Which that's what we're using our Title I funds for our Title I Skills Lab program. I think all of our proceeds go to that, with the exception of some funds reserved for students that are homeless or experiencing it. Any questions on policy 7220? That's it. And if you feel the need, you can always read them again next time. That's all I have. I'll take that back. It's not all I have. You can see my April schedule to date. I'd like to go to that regional reading meeting this Wednesday, but I may not go because we've got teacher. It's a half day Wednesday. We've got some teacher meetings for our freshman development. And I'm not sure if I can get back in time for that. So I'm probably going to skip it. I'm interested to see some of the information that comes out of that meeting. So talking about some legislative stuff going into next year. And a lot of HR decisions since we're in that time of year too. One thing not on my report that I wanted to bring up is it came in today. Will it? Okay. Actually, we have our proposal in. So I put this out. It's our health insurance proposal. You can see we have our current, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's our current policies, our 3 plans. And you can see what the premium is there at the top. The next page is our renewal, which would be a 2.5% increase if we stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And you can kind of see my chicken scratch there. Based on plans 2 and 3, it's a $100 increase in single, $200 increase in family for the plan 2, and plan 3 is a $300 increase for single and $600 for family. So that's where that's at. Then third page is a competitive plan from Pacific Source, which is a 4.2% decrease. And we have 4 plans here that Ashley has done research for us and is proposing that are comparable to what we have currently. And you can see all the greens are savings, all the reds are increases or pushes to our current plan or current renewal plan. You'll notice too that down in the pharmaceutical for RX, there's only 4 tiers. All the tiers of pharmaceuticals are either cheaper or comparable to what we currently have. I have shared this with John Hanson today. I believe he was able to meet with Ashley for a little bit. And so that's out there. I believe there's a BFT meeting. Is it? We had to discuss this. And so I believe maybe we're in a position to begin negotiations. Long story short, the last one is a proposal. If we switch Blue Cross Blue Shield to a claims base, it's 14% increase. 14.4, not even considered. It's crazy. But I appreciate Ashley looking into that for us. And I just don't think Blue Cross Blue Shield at the time of day where they're using some historical data. That's it. So I think we got 2 good proposals from both Blue Cross. BFT really wanted to stay. However, I think the district from a negotiating perspective should also look to, if we're going to give something to the BFT, then we maybe should look to get something in return, potentially in language or something else. I have some ideas for that. In particular, because I believe we've been transparent, I'm most interested in our activity stipends They're currently tied to an increase in the base. Every time there's an increase in the base, those activity stipends increase. I can tell you right now that that practice is unsustainable.
Right.
What I would like to do, and again, because I always want to put it out there, where there's any reason to hide this, is I'd like to consider a new matrix with flat rates. However, I would grandfather everybody in that's currently coaching or on an activity stipend on the current matrix for that. So that it hurt anybody in our current staff. It'd only be for new coaches or anybody else on that stipend list. What I have to do is devise, come up with stipend figures. So I'm hoping Brock, we can work together on that this month. Put out there for consideration when we're negotiating. So that's what I've got with insurance. Any questions on that? I'll turn it back over to Gary.
Okay. Any questions for Josh? Okay, next then is our assistant principal's report. Rob?
Oh, the this month. It's our average daily attendance is that percentage. It's scooping up there, and then all of a sudden they have a break, and they're going to it's a little longer break, and then it's very consistent. You know, we've been past couple of months done about that 90%. Activity. They're about kids actually there's quite a few students doing other college visits and and then searching for where they want to go to school. And so it's one of those things where that's why you're here. We can go to those colleges and see how it's where you want to go. As a student at Minnesota and looking at a school there. So it's just what we want. All right, then when it comes to they didn't increase that much. Cell phones think they are trying to catch the tardies. There is a lot there, but for the few this month, I think there's actually 6 additions to the cell phones and 5.
No, sir.
The ambulance looked at this, we had choir practice. So the senior class would like to request they go to Oil Falls. They do know they want to go down. Chick-fil-A, that's top priority. Yes.
They do that when you come to the graduation.
Yes, it'd be that Wednesday.
I'm keeping order this. Your name was. Yeah, I brought him in, I believe. Were we open Monday? No,
No, it was last week.
I was in one day last week. And we got them all. Yeah, I gave you. Ask her to check and make sure that you and I both signed all of them. We've had that happen a time or two. This is it's the God stay together. Yeah. Yep. Graduation is ready to go. And
All ready to go, just gotta work on a few of those seniors and make sure that they are ready to go with us. But yes, graduate. Hours for the last, well, at least since I've been here, they've donated flowers for us to use and eighth graders use for their promotion, and they were closed down for a while. They're picking back up. But this is the thing about some advertising for them. This is flowers.
okay, any other questions for Ron? Going to Brock's activities report. Ron?
I got a update for you coming around. I just got update on the numbers for the spring sports for you. Track, we have 53 participants this season, 31 boys, 20 girls. Last year we were at 49, so we're up there. Tennis program, 27 participants, 11 boys, 16 girls, up from 19. Softball program is at 23 now. That includes those 6 8th graders that I just talked about. We did not meet 8th graders last year, so we're down a little bit if you counting our students. Last year we were at 20. Baseball program's up 26 compared to 23 last year. Just a little update on the baseball. We're hoping to have our first home game that May 2nd. So ending the backstop, the net being up, which is on schedule. So we've been on the road all year until May. So we're looking forward to being home. Band and choir headed to the District Music Festival this Thursday through Saturday to be held in Deer Lodge. I plan to go up there Friday and just kind of support them and what they're doing up there and help them out with whatever they need. And then the State Music Festival will be held in Helena May 1st through the 2nd. Just some numbers: 129 student athletes out this spring. So about a third of the student body. Entertain any questions if you have. If you get a chance to get out to anything, we can see you there and say hi to me if you are there. Had our first softball game on the Friday. Yeah. Got a sunburn and had to put on a coat.
Yeah.
Got rain off. It's spring for you. Thank you, Mr. Love.
Thank you, Brock.
I made a comment.
Certainly.
And a comment from one of the state bus drivers. She was intending to write a letter, but how Brock handled the mishaps with our buses over state tournament and all of that. It was expediency and tremendous organization and swift action on everything that happened. So she had the utmost kudos to you, Ms. Jean Burgess. And so, like I said, she intended on writing a letter to the school board, but didn't get that done. When she's in my main board, she passed it on. But wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Brock, I also wanted to compliment you on your job and what a good job you've done, the tournaments you've hosted and the way you've handled the travels and the state tournaments and the divisional tournaments. And I just hear nothing but just compliments from everyone I talk to from Eric everywhere. And that comes back to you and the coaching staff and the kids. So
Yeah, I appreciate that.
we're on the class outfit.
It all starts here and just trickles down. So thank you.
And Sean, thank you for all your bus drivers and all the things they've got to go through. So Gene hasn't had to crawl out any more windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any questions for Brock? If not, we'll go on to the consent agenda items. Josh?
9.1. Possibly approve non-tenure teacher employment recommendations. 26.7, the one we left off last time, that's 9.11. Christina Rouse, our guidance counselor, this will be her second contract. And she is a retired teacher coming back to work again for us. We give her a much discounted rate. She is an excellent counsel, very blessed to have her. Recommend her without hesitation.
I would make that motion.
Been moved and seconded to hire Christina Rouse for her second contract for guidance counselor. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously.
9.2, this will be your consideration and final approval of classified staff employment recommendations for the 26-27 school year. You can see the list there.
I make that one.
Thanks.
Is moved and seconded to approve the classified recommendations for the upcoming school year. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, on to the action items.
Okay, this is where we'll get Dan back involved again, maybe. 10.1, board consideration and possible approval of the AI construction contract with Langlis Associates as GCCM, and Intuitive Architecture as architect for the ACIT building repair. So the motion we would look for tonight, since we don't have the contract in front of us, is to, if I expect it back this week, would be if the contract comes back with the School Board Association's blessing to allow Mr. Love to approve that contract, or if the contract comes back and with suggested revisions, that you would allow Mr. Love, myself, and Mr. McGee as our owner's rep to address those in an effort to go ahead and continue to get this process going.
That would keep us from having to have a special meeting also.
So can Suzanne write that up as, and I just say, I so move, and you do beautifully what he just said. Yeah.
Is there any discussion? Those in favor of what Josh just said?
Suzanne does an amazing job of capturing all of that. It's unreal.
You bet, Dan.
Yeah, just clarify. So this is the language of it. There's not a guaranteed maximum price yet. We'll come back again with a for you guys to approve.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah.
It's the language.
This was 82 pages. I think 29 pages.
Yeah,
I read through that and looked.
Yeah, I did the initial review after provided by Langlis, added a bunch of typical things that I see from Via Cavalra, all my school projects, added those in. And then we have MTSBA, their review. That's what we're waiting on. That'll go back to Langlis to make sure that there's nothing there out of the ordinary.
Yeah. Thank you.
The next one kind of goes along with that. Dan, I don't really have a document for this. I'm not sure if maybe you sent me one, but it's consideration and possible approval. They hire a building envelope consultant. Recommended.
I never got it
By
either.
name. Is there an actual document?
Yeah, there was a proposal that came through. Pretty sure it should have been in your inbox. Yeah, or I wouldn't have do that. Because I had sent it through.
You and I talked about it, but I
Yeah.
still never did get it.
Okay. Yeah, I can pull it up or I can send it to you, Josh. And then
Yeah, just send it to Josh and we can get it signed if someone approves or makes a motion to approve it.
you look on April 7th.
But essentially that dollar amount that you mentioned.
Yeah,
earlier, Dan,
I'll pull it
the
up.
whatever it was, 16,000.
Yeah, so that what we're proving is a not to exceed. Whether again, it's time and material.
And all I ever got was just their logos.
Yeah. Is this it right here?
Should be an attachment. We all went back.
Oh, maybe this is it. Is it from,
Oh, there.
just scroll down far enough.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, well, at the very bottom is the scope document, so that's got the, which is not showing up on my end, which is the Excel sheet that had the breakdown of their hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think this is the only one I remember seeing.
Yeah.
Me too.
So it didn't have the dollar breakdown. So. Send this one, so the cost for the pre-work, which is all of the stuff up to CA, so CA is where you would look to have his trips to come out here, is $19,833. And then with the total, if 3 trips were required, would be 38,185. And both Marie and I feel that that can be done, documented with photos, video on site, and limit those trips.
So you think it'll be closer to the 1933 then?
838.
Okay. Send that to Josh.
Yeah, I'll resend it.
He
So
can sign
that one, he had my information, not your information. So
Okay.
that was on. Send that right. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
We could move to approve that with the not to exceed $19,833.
Well,
Because it was
the contract will be for all of that.
It will.
And then it's not, so it's based on our request on those other.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna really, yeah, we're gonna hold them accountable. Maybe we might require one at the end,
Right.
but I think we feel very confident with Langless, Intuitive, myself, that we can document it
Okay.
without requiring.
Okay.
And I tried to remove it and he's like, well, I'd like to keep them. You don't spend it if you don't use it.
Yeah.
So, and that's.
And he won't come unless you authorize it.
Correct.
It seems if he's willing to insure it essentially that he'd want to come once.
Well, and that's the part where we got to just be real careful
Yeah.
on how tight we pull the noose, but we're gonna, at the most, I would say one, and we would hold it off till the very end as a final sign off on it. Because the systems are pretty simple. I mean, they do a great job, but they're a fairly simple solution. So now if we were cladding it with metal and doing a bunch of other connection things, I would see maybe a need for more, but with the exterior applied material, there's not a whole lot of.
And he's probably got some sort of errors and omissions. If he screws up, then we can go back and
Yep.
get what we need.
And that's in his T's and C's there. But I just resent that to you guys, so it basically has my name on the top of it. That's why I didn't revise it. He just left off the exhibit.
Then the one that we want to approve is the 38,185.
Yeah, that's the max.
I would make that motion.
Second.
And seconded to approve the building and envelope consultant contract not to exceed $38,185. Is there any discussion? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
10.3. For consideration and possible approval of purchase of two.
Sorry you had to hang around so
See ya.
long.
No, that's all right.
Safe travels.
Safe travels.
Yeah, see ya.
Okay.
2 used activity buses, one for the price of $78,500 and one for the price. But to be determined, but if the board could give us some range of like 80 to 90K, and I think we might be able to find something in that range.
Do we need to approve the additional amount that he mentioned as far as the tires and the potential wrap? So instead of at the 78.5, do we need to approve it at up to 80,000 or?
I don't think so, because this is just the purchase process
Okay.
as is.
Okay.
We can add that on to it when we get it, and that's
Okay.
the board wouldn't take any extra.
Okay.
Make sure I have enough in transportation budget to get the entire
Okay.
wrap
Great.
already out there. That's not a problem.
wrap the whole thing in blue, or do we leave it white and just put on the beaver?
With this one, the quickest and the cleanest, I would be, because the blue wraps that we put on 95 already cracking and peeling off. So the decal itself with our logo says Dylan Beavers and the BV in the center is not cracking. So I think with the white bus, we go with the Dylan Beaver, it's the BV. Not mess around with the blue wrap that's gonna fail and less.
Sure, that makes sense. White's a nice color.
Well, the parents are painted up nice anyway when you go.
Yeah.
To tournaments.
You,
I make the motion to give the purchase of 2 used activity buses. So that's all amounts.
been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of 2 activity buses. One for the 78.5 that we've already found, and the other one for somewhere in the $80,000 to $90,000 range. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thanks for your
Thank you.
efforts. Great.
It's exciting to get some new ones.
It's due.
Yep.
Safety.
Yep.
Go ahead, plan that trip to Vegas to pick it up.
That rock needs to go.
10.4 consideration possible approval of the $5 per hour rates for adult education instructors. Have been increased from 25 an hour to 30 an hour. Currently, Ms. Roscoe is our only adult ed instructor. Not to ask Susie some help on this, but I believe that $25 an hour amount has been that way for quite some time now. And so just out of respect and our gratefulness for her doing our adult education and the community of support that we've seen and positive feedback. That would be especially if this has been done for a long time. It's been at a $25 an hour rate for years. I think it would be acceptable to raise that to $30 an hour.
25 to 30.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to reduce the adult ed instructor's salary from $25 to $30 per hour. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Susie, we can go back and we looked at there.
It did.
10.5, for consideration possible approval of a change to the 26-27 academic calendar. That's again, just moving that PRA to corresponding divisions.
I'm gonna make that motion.
Been moved and seconded to change the calendar to match the divisional tournament. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
10.6, for consideration possible approval of the senior trip to Idaho Falls. So moved.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? They love Chick-fil-A.
Anybody wanting to chaperone?
Grace.
Should probably mention though, Rob, that you trustees are planning on attending graduation.
Yes.
Just to let us know. We can plan for that.
What day is it, Rob?
So,
I can tentatively be there. Josh may not be here. His daughter's graduating in Georgia, and that's important for
He's
him.
graduating that Friday, so. Trying to see if I can turn and burn and get back quick enough. Might not make it.
If you can't, that's understandable.
She's my last one and my oldest, so Georgia. The rest of them are all here, so that's hopefully I can count my second one, but 3 BCHS graduates. 2 for sure, that third one, I don't know. We need to drag him across the finish line.
Is anyone else interested in for graduation? I think I can be. So you help again, Nicole.
Well, not. You're gonna be in Greece. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
put that in the calendar, I forget right now.
Go ahead and move on to 10.7 then. That's board consideration of possible approval of FFA summer trips, one to Idaho and one to Indiana.
I still move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the FFA trip to one to Moscow, Idaho, and one to Indiana. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Have that new bus by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not getting that CD out.
It might be the maiden voyage.
What's that?
Might be the maiden voyage.
Yeah, run the DOT if you do, because I get pulled over, we're in the big.
10.8, board consideration and possible approval of the first and final reading of the updates to the following existing policies. I'll read through all those. The last one, 7220, it'll be the first. So moved.
Been moved and seconded to approve the first and final readings of the updates to the policies that Josh discussed earlier. Are there any questions? Those in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, the next thing we have is litigation strategy. I'm going to close the meeting in accordance with section 2-32034A of Montana Code annotated, since an opening meeting would have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the school district. In my opinion, we need to close the meeting. Thank you.
No luck, man.
You can stay if you want. At 9:25, we back into open session. Is there a motion from the executive session? Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the executive session. Will be kept secret. Any discussion? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Yes. Okay, our next meeting is May 11th. I'm not gonna be here. Yeah, that's not a secret. My prostate cancers came back and I start radiation. I'm just gonna send it back. Tuesday of May 12th, so. Which is not a big deal. I'm changing my will. But I think they're gonna do it the second Tuesday of each month for the next 5 months. So I'll try to get out of let the June one maybe be a Wednesday or something, but the May 12th one is scheduled. So I'm fine to not be here if you guys want to run the meeting, or we can do it at a different date. It doesn't matter. It's kind of up to.
I technically have to be gone too, because I will fly out for Greece on the
Oh,
10th.
that's right.
So I'm gone for 20 days. So, I mean, it's no big deal if I'm not here, but I've already missed one meeting this year.
That's okay.
If we did it the week before, I would to be here. Otherwise, I won't be back.
And the week before, I'll be in Maui.
Good for you.
I think, let's see, when do I get back?
Yeah.
Did you go to Augusta? Yeah. So I get back on Tuesday, May 5th.
What would a Thursday, May 7th look like?
I could do Thursday, May 7th.
or Wednesday, but give you a day. I could do Thursday, May 7th. Or Phil could run it on the 11th.
Bill could run it on the 11th. Roxanne and I both be gone.
No.
No.
Get handed the coaching hours.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, moved to since I left the bank. Do we want to try May 7th? Does that work?
Does that work for you guys?
Maybe a little better.
Then another day better?
The 6th be better? I can make the 6th work.
I can make the 6th work. You fly into Missoula that morning, but I'd be home in time at night, so the 6th would work as well.
It's half day, it's a bike and roll to school day, Jason Clark. That'll affect anything.
Just can't go later because we're leaving. Oh, you are too? I'll be gone. Okay. So it sounds like that's better for,
The 5th, the 6th is better for you too, Lauren?
I can, the 6th or 7th is fine. I just, if we push it later, then
Wednesday, the 6th work then?
that works.
Okay.
Already got an agenda going.
Okay.
Awesome.
June, we can just play it by ear and see
Yeah.
how things go.
We won't try that.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. Right, I won't. You never know.
Who else are going? Chenards are going.
Chenards are going, yeah. We have about 22 that's going. Tanatory's going. Some people from North Carolina. John X is leading it.
Mike Schultz going.
Mike Schultz is going, yeah. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
What's going? Are you going with that class?
No, it's just a group of alumni and friends that have been coordinating for 2 years. So, oh yeah, there's a class that's gonna be there. Yeah. Yeah. With Rob Thomas, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry for the length of the meeting tonight. Anyway, if somebody wants to move for adjournment, we'll do it.
So move.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye. The second almost came before the first.